In this video, we're going to cover settings. And to get to the settings, you're going to go to Main Menu and off to the right side under Settings and Support. Click on, went away real quick, click on the Settings. And as you can see, there's a whole lot of settings we can do here. I'm not going to have time to cover all of them. One of the main things, most important things I can really tell you about settings in Contractor Foreman is kind of right out of the box, we've already set a lot of these settings for you. And a lot of softwares, whether it's construction management software or not, a lot of times you have to set settings that are permanent and you don't even know what they are yet. And yet you have to go through a list of settings and set them, and then you're stuck with them forever. We didn't do that in Contractor Foreman because we know that's wrong. And so with Contractor Foreman, you can adjust your settings as you go. So run with it right out of the box. And as you learn a little bit more, go in and adjust your settings, maybe change them or complete some of your settings as you go. So you can spend time learning Contractor Foreman, not being wrapped up and worried about, oh my gosh, I have to get all these settings done just perfectly. So that said, let's jump into a few of these that'll probably help you get going the most. So let's jump into my details here. And as you click on these modules, you'll see the little green pencil icon that will unlock that section. These are in different sections. So we'll unlock this one. And this is just, you're just filling out your basic information here for each user. You can do setup trainings and certifications. You can also do this from the directory in the employee record. So I'm going to close this one out. Then we're going to come over into My Preferences. And here, see the language up here. Your users can actually set the language in the app. So if English isn't their first language, and let's say that it's Spanish, they can just select Spanish, and now their app is going to be in Spanish, or they can suggest a new language. Then they can hit save, come down into the next section here, and here's where you can sort things. So directory contacts, how do you want to sort it? Directory phone and cell, how do you want to sort it? So different ways to sort things, customize it for you. How do you want to get your message notifications, project selection, default expense account? That'll probably be set by your administrator. So we'll close that one out. Then we'll jump into, say, the custom. And in the custom, here's where we can do different settings for, say, let's just jump into incident types maybe. So incident types, I can set new ones. Come up here and go to active, look at all, active, or go to archive, or over here I can add custom entry. So here's all the sections I can do that in. Set generic projects for safety meetings, bill payment and account. There are no custom entries for that field. They're blank, so you could add one here. I'm back into custom. And down at the bottom here, you can set your starting numbers. So things like change orders, you can just start it at number 1, custom text applied manually, auto custom, and prefix with project number. So this way, per project, you can have them start sequentially. So it's not going to be just across the board, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to be per project. Custom text, auto and custom, and prefix with the project number. The financial, most of this is pretty straightforward and simple. In the financial settings, you're just going to set things like currency symbol, depending on where you're at. We've got customers in over 75 countries now. Number format, job cost labor calculation. Really helps to make sure that that is set to approved estimate. It will default to that on new accounts. We just want to make sure that didn't get changed, set it to approved estimate. That's going to help you in your job costing. And you come down, set marks, say markup defaults. So as you add new items, if into your cost item database, when you get around to doing that, when you assign a default markup, percent assigned to all newly added items that don't already have a markup associated with it. So if you add new items to your cost item database and you don't have a markup assigned to it, you can make sure that they do get one. So you can say, okay, typically all material is marked up 30%, all equipment is marked up 20, all labor is marked up 30, etc. And you kind of come down and do your tax rates and online approval. That's kind of a big one, so let's touch base on it. So when a customer approves an estimate, automatically perform the following actions. Convert the lead to a customer, create a project using the estimate details if project isn't assigned. Generally, you don't want to create a project and then create the estimate. You just want to create the estimate and then let the system create the project. So make sure those top two are checked. And then I think I had checked that one, but make sure at first these next two are not checked. By default, again, I don't believe they are checked, but make sure those two are not checked. We go into that in another couple of other videos, why you don't want to check those in the beginning. And then you can set your default terms so you don't have to set that in invoices. So we'll just say, okay, all my invoices are net 30, and then it actually calculates the date, puts that as a due date on your invoices when you hit save. So there's the financial. Now we're going to jump into integrations, just so you're aware really of everything that we do integrate with. So up here you do have Angie leads. We've got calendar settings. So we do sync up to Gmail, Outlook.com, and Outlook 365. Client financing. Could spend quite a bit of time on this one because it's pretty huge, especially if you're doing residential. It really helps to do upselling, helps get more estimates approved because there's a link right on the estimate that your customer can click on and just absolutely in minutes get approved for a little bit more money. So if they had a budget for 50,000, but the estimate came out to 65 or 70,000, they can just get financing for that balance. So you're going to make more money, the customer's happy, etc. Here's company cam settings, if you know what that is. So you can take pictures using company cam, geotags the pictures and assigns them to the appropriate project in Contractor Foreman. Gusto for payroll, Paymate, payroll and HR, QuickBooks integration. So there's a QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Desktop. I'm going to just pause here for a minute, or not pause here, but we're going to go into view details here. So there's the guide that you're going to want to download. Download the guide, select which one you're going to want to use, then download the guide. Once you've read the guide, you can go to view details here. And if you need help, we're going to pay for the first hour and a half of a call. And if you need additional help, Smart Business Solutions has given us a fantastic deal at $65 an hour past that hour and a half, and you book your introductory call here. So that's a great help they've done for us. Next, we'll jump into roles. And here's where we've set up a number of roles for you, again, right out of the box, so you can just pick one of these roles. And we'll go ahead and click on the green edit pencil, say for supervisor here. I'll just open that up. And we don't have time to go down this whole list because this list is very long, but that's because we have very granular security. But for the most part, you've got 4 different settings. I can set it to no access. So if I set change orders to no access, that's going to remove it off of the main menu and pretty much out of the rest of the system. So they're just not going to see anything about change orders for that role. I can do full access all data. So that means they can add a change order, edit a change order, see all the change orders, but then full access own data. So in this case, if I check that on change orders, they would only be able to see the change orders that they created. Then we have read only. So that means they can see the change orders, but that's it. They can just see them. They can't edit them. They can't create new ones, etc. The other thing you're going to notice is that in parentheses, you're going to see module. So that's a module. Some are going to be a tab. So that's a tab within a module. And some, as I scroll down here, one here shortly, there's one, a field. So some of these are all the way down to the field level. And then you'll even see some that have a little sub permission level. So very granular on the security. And there's a little list of the definitions of what you can do. And cancel this. I can add a role. That's just adding a role from scratch. And that's copy an existing role. Now moving on to templates. Here's where you can modify all the templates that we've already pre-built. Like I said, we've done your settings for you. We've pre-built all of the templates. We've pre-built all of the reports for you. So easiest way to use this module, because that's quite the long list here, is to come over here to the right side. And I'm going to say, okay, I want to modify my estimate templates. I want to build a new one, or I should say modify an existing one to build a new one. So you simply click on the pencil icon next to the one that's the closest to what you want to modify. And then just make your selections on what it is you want to change. So checking, unchecking, when you see that 3-dot called the hamburger menu there, that means I can drag and drop that section. I also have custom text top, middle, and bottom. And that means that I could type up some custom text there and place that in my estimate as well. I can insert line breaks, things like that, into my templates. And next, we have our module settings. Now, while you can use these module settings, and they're handy if you're here in settings, what we also have done just to make it faster and easier is, you see we have our estimates here, but I can come up here into my estimates themselves. So I'm in the estimate module, and every module has this gear button. So I click the gear button, and now here are my settings as well. So I click my pencil icon, and here's all my settings for estimates. And again, I can still get to them from here. There's the same settings. So again, if we need to go to invoices, settings, there's my settings. But at the same time, my invoice settings are right here, and I can click on my invoice settings and get to them here as well. But just remember that even in projects, so here's projects, there's my gear icon. And one thing I'll point out here, you have to be in save mode to get into that gear button. So if I unlock, I'm in project, but it'll be the same thing for anything. But if I unlock that and I try to click that, so that I have to save changes to open settings. So I have to click that, then it will go ahead and save that. The other one is time card settings. And there are quite a few settings in time card settings. So just kind of open up that, click on that gear icon and get familiar with the settings that are in time cards. There's a lot of them. Might have some questions on them, and go ahead and use live chat for that. But that's a big one right there, and that's a big one right there. You want to use project-based cost codes and labor-only cost codes. The reason I'm pointing these two out is in your estimate, you might have used, where you might have had 50, 75 line items, and you might have used 20 cost codes, but only 5 of those cost codes were labor-based. So the item type was labor. So when your employees are filling out a time card, it's only going to show them those 5 cost codes that were labor. So it's faster, easier, and less mistakes. And then this also reduces that down a little bit farther. So it's only going to show them labor only time cost codes, and you'll see that in the cost codes. So like I say, lots of settings here. There's your GPS tracking. Time card administration, overtime configuration, automatic breaks. Put up your generic projects if you want to use those. So that's it for setting, folks. I hope that helps. And give us a holler if we can help in any way. Thanks so much.